folks, welcome to you on this Sunday evening, and we're back with the lo-fi beats that I used to bring in, only because I felt it was time to take a little break from the future funk and get back to what we're familiar with. We haven't yet been joined by Mr. Noir nor the Cyber Raiden. Now, given the fact that for Kaiju, he's still readjusting to being back in San Diego, and in Raiden's case, he works on a Sunday, so, you know, the guy works hard for what he does, and it'll be a case of he gets here when he gets here. So we'll just leave it at that. So, because of the fact of what was talked about last week, I feel like there's going to be a rule going forward. Because I'm stepping away from modern WWE for an unspecified time, because, Madam President, I think you and I can both agree it's just unwatchable right now.
That's an understatement.
I mean, the problem that they have with that talent roster, actually, the problem is not with the talent. They've got amazing talent that they could craft superb stories with. It's just that the stories they come out with are not even subpar. They make subpar look like Oscar bait. As a rule, unless we hear of the following happening: Vince McMahon is retiring, Steve Austin is making a return appearance, or The Rock is making a return appearance, there's going to be no mention of WWE, because it's like I said, last week with the Usos winning the unification match, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And I've got no issues with the Usos whatsoever. They're a very talented tag team. It's just that, like Roman, they're being shoved down our throats, and I can't abide that anymore. I mean, all this week I haven't gone to WWE's page once, because it was before where I used to be subscribed to the network. Then I would only resubscribe if it was WrestleMania or the Royal Rumble, and then it was just reduced to, I'll catch the highlights on Raw and SmackDown. And over the last few months, it's just gotten bad, and then worse. So, like I say, I've had enough. And people think, oh, you hate wrestling now. No, I don't hate wrestling. I still love the Attitude Era. I still love the Ruthless Aggression Era and the Summer of Punk. But it's just modern WWE. WWE is all I've ever known. And some people say, go come over to AEW. And I'm like, no. I need to detox for a while. I need to get this out of my system, because, when Punk left, he had to get away. Because here's the thing, the man could have died. He had a staph infection and they didn't treat it. And I think when you separate yourself from something you've known, you don't go over to something else with a different name that's doing the same sport. Because, alright, they do things differently in AEW, but it's still wrestling. And you're going to be reminded of it for a while. So, for the time being, until further notice, SKL will just focus on everything else. So now we can add to the list of no topics: politics, religion, and modern WWE. With, like I say, the exception to the rule: if Austin or Rock is there and McMahon is retired, gone, or otherwise, then we talk about it. But it's like I say, it's just not fun anymore. I just can't. I'm actually finally. It took me 9 years, but I'm finally on the SS fuck WWE ship. Random left after The Rock won the WWE title from CM Punk in Royal Rumble 2013. That's when he left. He says he just cannot watch it. Now with that out of the way, I feel a little bit better for getting that off my chest. How people choose to take this first article is entirely up to you.
Okay.
And Raiden's just joined us. Oh, well, he will be. Star Trek Picard showrunner confirms full Next Generation cast reunion for Season 3. The entire senior staff of Next Generation's Enterprise D will reunite on screen in Star Trek Picard's third season. Paramount Plus announced that the primary Star Trek The Next Generation cast, LeVar Barton, Jonathan Frakes, Marina Sirtis, Michael Dorn, Brent Spiner. That's going to be weird considering Data's dead. And Gates McFadden would join Patrick Stewart for Picard's final season. Star Trek producer Alex Kurtzman later confirmed that these returns are more than cameos. Now showrunner Terry Matalas has confirmed that the entire Next Generation cast will come together during Picard's farewell season instead of appearing separately throughout the season. He responded to a fan's question on Twitter about this with a gif in the affirmative via Star Trek movie. I remember watching the premiere of Star Trek The Next Generation almost 34 years ago. Wow, has it really been that long? With my father like it was yesterday. It was the spark that ignited my love for science fiction. So it's fitting that the story of Jean-Luc Picard ends honouring the beginning with his dearest and most loyal friends from the USS Enterprise. It would be an understatement to say that giving these characters a proper send-off is an honour. The entire Star Trek Picard team and I cannot wait for fans to experience this final high-stakes starship-bound adventure in Season 3. Most of the new cast introduced in Picard's first two seasons are exiting ahead of the final season. Oh. However, Jerry Ryan will return as Seven of Nine and Michelle Hurd as Rafiki Musika. I actually quite like her, to be quite honest. She's kind of got that buddy goofball chemistry with Patrick, and that's actually a good thing. Hurd has teased that Picard's third season has some twists and turns in store for the returning cast members. First of all, I think our Star Trek family is going to be really excited about this third season. It's really delicious. Okay. And there are more twists and turns. Maybe fans are anticipating some twists and turns, but there's a bunch of them there. The players who are coming to play with us, each time somebody walked on set, it was like a historic moment. Everybody would walk onto the soundstage and we were just so excited to welcome back these individuals. And the stories that Jerry and I are going to explore are incredibly exciting and action-packed and emotional. I think it's just going to give you guys a lot. It's not even like Easter eggs. We're just going to be putting some stuff straight out. It's in your face. I think you guys will be as giddy as we were shooting it. All I ask, I know this is kind of cliche and trite, we just need one more of this. Shut up, Wesley. We need one more.
Make it so.
Indeed. All I'll say from what I'm hearing, hello to Mr. Noir and to the Cyber Raiden.
I requested that you let us know in advance when you were going to start these calls.
If you read when you came into the private server, I did say going live in 17 minutes.
Well, I think he means like maybe like a few hours ahead of time.
In my defense,
Yes.
in my defense, I only woke up an hour ago.
Oh,
And what time is it over there?
No, I just had a very long, tiring weekend, dude.
That doesn't answer my question, MJ.
That's a point.
I gotta say, man, I didn't wake up until 5 in the afternoon. It's not like I could have...
That's still not an answer, MJ.
Oh
Would you like to repeat the question so I can understand?
Do I need to exit so you guys can have a
What
moment?
time is it? Over on your side of the pond.
The time?
Yeah, it was 5 in the evening.
Thank you. that exactly proves my point.
no. Oh dear.
Yeah. Everyone's body clock runs differently, especially when you're working nights.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give you a pass this
Don't remind
time.
me.
Alright. Anyway. As we were. I'm intrigued to see what we're going to be getting from the third season. The only thing I think is probably going to be most critical, because I think one of the biggest criticisms of the spin-off series is the fact that it, to a lot of fans, it doesn't feel like Star Trek. It feels like something that's almost the antithesis of it. Now, granted, when we catch up with Jean-Luc at the start of season 1 of Picard, it's been years since he was even part of Starfleet, and he's seen and experienced things, and I grant that not everyone is the same person after, a 3-decade time jump from when they first were in the position they were to where they are now. But at the same time, even when people change, they don't completely lose all their character traits and mannerisms. So I suppose my biggest concern is this going to be like a Next Generation reunion season in name only? Or are we going to have something that feels more like Next Generation, but done in such a way whereby it feels more up to date, to whereby this is what this would feel like had the show not been discontinued in 1994. That's the only concern I have, because Next Generation is seen as like one of the most iconic iterations in the Star Trek franchise. Sometimes some people see it as it being more so than the original, because the original Star Trek only ran for 2 seasons, but then they span off into the movies, which was a continuation of said original series, and then Next Generation was running alongside, but like 100 years into the future. So I don't know. There have been some episodes of Picard that I've enjoyed. I particularly like whenever you'd have like the reunion with Data, and then Riker and Counselor Troy, which they can't ever seem to settle on one accent for Counselor Troy, because when we first see her, there's this kind of Greek-Canadian hybrid of an an accent. Then it goes to American, and then when we catch up with them in season 1 of Picard, she's got a full-blown, Birmingham, Brummy accent. I'm like, okay, Counselor Troy, have you gone through some sort of identity crisis? Because nobody can seem to sort of stick to one specific thing. Whereas Jonathan Frakes comes back in as Riker, and the man hasn't missed a beat. You could tell when he was sat in the captain's chair of that starship, he's like, oh yeah, Daddy's home.
Look at me, I am the captain now.
I will say, if they do like a final episode, they have to bring in an Enterprise ship, because that'll be the way to perfectly send it off. Because with Next Generation, there are so many things that are iconic. Patrick Stewart being like one of the most iconic captains, Riker being the masculine badass that he is, especially whenever I never understood why he would sit in the chair where he would do. Would always put, step over the chair then sit in, or Data's very sort of nonplus of trying to understand certain colloquialisms of humans, and the fact that all of us looked at Dr. Beverly Crusher and just say, hey Doc, me, you, operating room. Know what I mean? Hey, everyone loved Dr. Beverly Crusher. It was just her son we weren't too fond of. Shut up, Wesley. But no, I haven't sat through season 2 yet. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing or not, that's neither here nor there. But if this is going to be the third and final season, they need to do it justice, because, as I've said, the way they've handled the Picard character with this series, there have been those moments where you get glimpses of the Picard we knew, but it feels like, I say, it's almost the antithesis of Picard. So if you're going to send it off with some pleasant memories, like, let's think of a good way you can sort of make a comparison. It's like how they ended the final episode of Next Generation, where they're all sat round a table playing cards with each other. You know, just this whole camaraderie, kingship, and almost like familial bonds, because that crew, they weren't just a crew; they were friends and they were family. And I think that's a beautiful thing. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to give for this. Counselor Kitsune, what do you make of the news that it's essentially going to be a full reunion? And what would you like to happen? What do you think will happen? And obviously, what do you not want to happen?
Well, there's a lot of loaded questions, considering the fact that technically, for all intents and purposes, Jean-Luc Picard is dead, but implicated. I really wish that the show itself had found its own footing instead of, relying on nostalgia bait. But again, that's what we're doing nowadays, nostalgia bait. That's all we're doing. But
they can only get you so far.
Yeah, I wanted the show to find its somewhat own identity, but the problem is the show's called Picard. It in itself, in its own fallacy, is nostalgia. It's nostalgia baiting itself. So I wish there was some, like, a Star Trek show with a bit less nostalgia baiting and, like, just saying, "Hey, let's, like, remember this guy?" I'm like, yeah, I watched the show. Like,
I remember.
Like, yeah, I remember. Can you do something different? I asked for very little, but I know. But again, it would be cool to see them back. But there are certain characters that are missing in action or dead. Data.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just I'm of two minds about it. It's like it'll be cool to see them back together, but again, I feel like they're just reeling in that fish, see what happens. But I don't know. It's the reason I kind of didn't want to give the show a chance, because I tried, but it's like just confused me. So I'm like, I'm just gonna be over here. You guys do you. I'm gonna be over here.
Fair enough. Lieutenant Sir Stephen, your thoughts?
I think it just feels like they've done a little too late. If they wanted to ensure the whole legacy of Picard, I feel that they should have done it a little bit earlier. But then again, it's like very much like Lid said, it's been caught between two things: trying to do something new, but then it stuck itself with featuring Picard, and I just feel it's a little too late, if you ask me. Wasn't really keen on watching Picard from the beginning, but I just don't know. I'm gonna have to throw in a mulligan up with this.
All right. To our own Geordie LaForge, Lieutenant Cyber Raiden, your 2 cents.
I'm gonna echo Steven and say mulligan. Even though I am happy to hear that Jerry Ryan will reprise the role of 7-9. Aside from Nina, She-Hulk, and China, make sure, rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
She was another big crush of mine. I mean, what can I say? I like strong women. So, yeah, that's my thoughts.
Commander Noir, your thoughts?
I'm not a Star Trek person, but I am aware of the general ongoings of the franchise, and from what all my friends who are Star Trek fans have told me, modern Star Trek is trash. Picard is trash. It's going to continue being trash, and as Lydia said, it's all a bunch of nostalgia baiting just so people can react like this.
Basically.
I know what that is!
Oh my god!
I clapped when I saw it! I recognized it!
You get a nostalgia. You get a nostalgia. You get a
We get
nostalgia.
it!
Or what was that other, like, a really popular meme from Red Letter Media? It's like, don't ask questions, just consume product and then get excited for next product.
Yep.
If you think that one's trash, don't watch Star Trek Below the Decks. Just
Oh, I've heard nothing
Lower
but bad
Deck.
things.
Oh, yeah.
Oh god, I've heard nothing but bad things about that show.
Yeah. So, like, the fact that they're gonna do a Star Trek Next Generation reunion is just another sign that they're desperate to get whatever. They know for a fact that people aren't happy with season 1 and season 2. So this is just their Hail Mary pass. This is their last ditch effort to get however many people on board for season 3. Like trying to like dangle a bunch of keys in front of us. It's like, look, see, we got it. We brought everyone back. It's like Smash Brothers. Everyone is here.
What's that phrase that Admiral Akbar said?
To trap.
that too.
Raping the trap.
Like, yeah, that's nice. That's all these people are here, but can you write a cohesive story? No? Okay, I'm over here.
But Lydia, everyone's back. You know what that is, don't you?
It means that you want my money. That's what that means.
I think what would piss the fans off even more is you hear like the announcement. I'd like to introduce you to your new first mate, Commander Crusher. Absolutely not.
What? No, Wesley, get out.
Okay. Sticking with we're going from Space Navy to Earth Navy now. And that is the news that Top Gun Maverick is exceeding expectations, blowing open the weekend at the box office. Maverick is soaring past expectations in its opening weekend. Over the 4-day holiday weekend, Maverick will earn $150 million according to updated projections. That amounts to Tom Cruise's best domestic opening at the box office in his long and storied career, and something to get to wash the taste of the mummy out of our mouths. We pretend that movie doesn't exist. If limited to the usual 3-day window, the Top Gun sequel is looking at an opening weekend of $120 million. That's the second best opening ever for blockbuster film producer Jerry Bruckheimer. There's a name we've not heard for many years. Maverick has received strong reactions from fans and critics. It earned a rare A+ cinema score, the first given in 2022, and has a 97% positive rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Comic.com's Spencer Perry awarded the film a solid 4.5 out of 5. He writes, Maverick is a movie that is satisfying on the narrative level in a visual scene, and when accounting for what the movie is actually about. The film is a rare sequel that outdoes the original in every way, delivering the ultimate theatrical experience that will have audiences convinced they've just hit cross Mach 5 themselves. They need to proofread that before they put it out. Sorry, comicbook.com, but, grammar. Just saying.
Grammar, what's that?
Oh, Kaiju will be saying something about that in a review later. Previously, chart-topping Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness in second place. It'll earn another $21 million over the holiday weekend. The Bob Burgers movie opened in third place with an 18.1 holiday debut. Downton Abbey, A New Era slides into third place the second weekend. No one cares. Adding another $7.7 million over the 4-day weekend. Animated hit The Bad Guys climbs onto the final top 5 spot with $6.4 million for the holiday weekend. This weekend completes a list of top films at the box office. Number 1, Top Gun Maverick. More than 30 years of service as one of the Navy's top aviators, Pete Maverick Mitchell is where he belongs, pushing the envelope as a courageous test pilot and dodging the advancement in rank that would ground him. Training a detachment of graduates for a special assignment, Maverick must confront the ghost of his past and his deepest fears, culminating in a mission that demands the ultimate sacrifice from those who choose to fly it. Joseph Kosinski directs Top Gun Maverick from a screenplay written by Aaron Kruger, Eric Warren Singer, and Christopher McQuarrie. The film stars Miles Teller, Jennifer Connelly, John Hamm, Glenn Powell, Lewis Pullman, Ed Harris, and Val Kilmer. It should be noted, when they were originally developing the sequel, Ridley Scott's brother, Tony Scott, who did the original movie, he actually committed suicide in 2012, I believe. Ooh. He actually jumped off one of the bridges in Los Angeles and died from something like impact trauma from when he hit the water. To my understanding, the guy was going through a lot. I think the biggest contributing factor was depression. So that's when Joseph Kosinski stepped in, and Joseph Kosinski is a name some of you may be familiar with because he directed Tron Legacy. So that's a while ago. So it would have been great, like I say, had he returned, because I felt like Scott did a phenomenal job directing that movie. But, life happens. Sometimes you don't see these things happening until you do see it happening. So hopefully, in some sense, whatever anyone's personal belief in theology is, hopefully somewhere he's satisfied that a project that he was part of is actually come to fruition and it's actually pleasing people. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Commander Hotshot Raiden, your thoughts on Maverick doing well?
Hey, any sequel that comes out, sequels of a film that's well loved, it gets an alright with me, because back then wasn't feasible at times. Unless your name is Terminator 2 Judgment Day, that stays being a classic, and other films be ignored. Looking at you, Salvation, Genesis, and Dark Fate.
Unfortunately, I'm reviewing those this September. Ugh.
I'm sorry.
Hey, I started the series, man. Gotta finish.
I respect your creed.
You have to.
Anyway, Matt, congrats to the film. Even though I'm not really a big Top Gun guy, even though Danger Zone by Kenny Loggins is a banger.
Absolutely.
And other things, I did hear in a highlight of Double Toast's review of it, Corey Coleman says this is the best sequel he's seen since Rescuers Down Under.
Wow.
I'm like, okay. And off topic, Down Under, it did came out in the Renaissance era where Disney was getting back into it, just the Dark Ages, and yeah, Down Under is actually a really good film. Has really great effects and everything. I feel like it holds up. Now back to Maverick. Like I said, not a big Top Gun guy, but happy a sequel from a film that's belovedly loved, just like the Back to the Future franchise. Hey, I respect on their part. So there you go.
Lieutenant High Flyer Steven, your thoughts? Steven?
Even?
Your thoughts? Oh.
He's having trouble.
There you go.
There you go.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bad connection.
Lieutenant Steven, your thoughts on it doing well?
I'm not really surprised that it's doing really well. I mean, When I saw it in the staff screening, I could see that it was a very different take on Top Gun, and very philosophical and psychological in most cases. Not what I was expecting at all. Along with the various shots and coordination that went into it was very refreshing to see that. And I I can I can tell you that pretty much for the majority of this week, the late evening showings have been completely sold out. My friend here,
Awesome.
my fellow colleague here can attest to that.
Awesome.
Really intense.
Nice. All right. Sergeant the President Lydia Rokaku, your thoughts?
Well, glad it's doing well. I mean, I thought it was just gonna be another cash grab, like everything else nowadays. I thought it was just gonna be hey, like I've been saying before, nostalgia. It's like, remember this? Remember this movie? But again, I'm glad it's doing well. At least it's falling. It's not failing completely. No, not like Tom Cruise's last project that wasn't labeled Mission Impossible. Yeah, we don't talk about that.
No.
Talk
But-
about what? I wasn't aware that there was
Exactly.
a project that came out.
But yeah, I'm glad it's doing well. I was again when I first heard that they were making a sequel to Top Gun. I'm like, do we really need a sequel? I mean, we can have one, but do we need it? It's fine. It's like again, like I said, I'm glad it's doing well. It's just there are some movies that don't need sequels. I feel like they don't need sequels. But
Like The
again,
Mask, for example.
yes, The Mask didn't need a
Oh.
sequel. No, it did not. And then we have to remember that nightmare of a movie.
Don't remind me. I watched that in theaters when I was younger.
Speaking of nightmare fuel, does anybody really need Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey?
No.
Not
I
re-
didn't ask for this.
not
No,
really.
no. But Oni's gonna make me watch it.
I've
But
seen,
yeah, you know people are still going to see it for the reactions and the views and shit.
Yes.
I've seen some of the first few images. And I'm like, oh good lord, that's nightmare fuel just looking at the pictures.
Oh God.
If you want to look for Winnie the Pooh nightmare fuel, just watch Meat Canyon's video on of Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, dude.
no.
Oh, Meek. Oh,
No, thank
God.
you.
I had to.
No, thank
If
you.
you know
I
Meat
got-
Canyon, if you know, you know.
Oh, trust me. I know.
Please, no.
Trust me. I know.
Anything but
I
that.
watched.
No.
I
You need
watched
an adult.
I
I'm an
watched
adult.
the two-parter Ed, Edd n Eddy.
No, you're not.
Me,
Yeah. Yeah,
mind.
you're an adult when you're not killing horses. There.
Oh,
What
please don't
Kaiju
remind me of
says is
that.
true.
You don't want to know.
Like I said, like what Kaiju says is true. Trust me. I watched the two-parter of the Ed, Edd n Eddy thing. Lord Jesus. That
Yeah,
second part
I
was
even
wild.
Okay, but why though?
I. You know what? You know what? I'm going to pull an MJ and type it out.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I have a bad
No,
feeling
no,
about
no.
this.
Oh boy.
This is terrifying.
Yes.
Oh,
the
you see nothing. Trust me. This is the short version, so you don't have to watch the full video.
Oh, thank God for that.
Hi, Sean.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hello there.
I know I'm not Obi-Wan, I'm just a Spider-Man. Why do you ask?
General Kenobi.
I'm sorry, guys, but this is what happens.
Yeah, I know. I saw it.
Oh my god!
That's dark.
Yep. This is what happens when you're a big ass Ed and Eddie fan. Even though I don't mind watching those, but the rest, oh god.
Ed, no! Why did you do that?
Ethnic jawbreaker.
For the views.
To be fair, Ed is one of the strongest out of the three Eds. So
And do not deprive him of his movies. No.
oh,
He will kill you.
Movie good for Ed.
or put a pebble in his shoe.
Hard to think
Beat
that's
me
what.
to it.
Hard to think that's what turned him into a rage monster.
Well, on the bright side, he finally stood up to Sarah, so that makes everything great.
Yeah. And also, he was kind of saying everything like he ever felt. Hard to think is that's all it took. Just put a pebble in his shoe and he just tells people exactly where to go. And finally, to Captain Destroyer Noir, your thoughts on the sequel doing well, at the moment?
I mean, it's a no-brainer why it would do that. I mean, to reiterate again, we're living in a world where nostalgia is at its peak right now, and this is on top of this being a anticipated sequel for a good 30 years. It's also been, people have also been waiting for a good at least like 2 to 3 years since this thing's been delayed multiple times due to COVID. So people are just anxious to see to see this movie. And again, to reiterate, I am not a Top Gun fan, only because I haven't seen either movie at this point. But I am certainly very happy for fans out there, and it looks to be, from what I hear, a movie that appears to be as good, potentially as good as the first movie, which is a rare sight to see because normally sequels are never as good, especially belated sequels are never as good as the original films. So yeah, major props to everyone involved in the film, and again, really happy that for fans of Top Gun, the film was well worth the wait.
The thing I will say about the first Top Gun is it is definitely a movie of its time where it's it's macho machismo, it's dudes being dudes, but it's also
guys being dudes.
It's also a movie with a lot of heart and redemption. It's not all just about bros being bros and extending communications to foreign relations by flipping the bird whilst being inverted in midair.
No.
But it is a movie that's got a great story to tell, and as and when I get to see it, I'm hoping that it kind of follows that, but just builds upon the foundations from what it originally set. And I think I may have said this once or twice before. It's usually a good idea to leave no more than, say, a 2 to 4 year gap between sequels, just so that you don't leave fans hanging on too long. But at the same time, you have to have the right story for it, otherwise it's just not going to work. And it's a similar thing with Tron Legacy, because when that came out in 2010, it had been 28 years since the original, and they had tried multiple times to find a story that would fit. I feel with Legacy there are parts of it that work, but I felt like the father-son story overshadowed the titular character, which is what the movie is supposed to be about. So, and when I saw Cinema Wins, which, by the way, I think he does a much better job at being analytical of a movie than Cinema Sins, because these days that guy just tends to nitpick for the sense of nitpicking.
He's just
Wasn't
an
that always
asshole.
the case with him?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't that always the case with him?
Not so much in the beginning, because he was kind of saying what we were all thinking, but then Wins comes along and it's like, Actually, he's right. I actually do appreciate those aspects of the movie, and it did leave me with a little bit more of an appreciation for Legacy. I mean, it's not an amazing movie, but it's a watchable movie that, when you look a little bit deeper, like he did with the positive attributes, it's like it makes you think a little bit.
It really makes you think.
Well, not everything needs to be, as X24 Rider once said, junk food for the brain. Sometimes you need a little bit of, I don't want to say logic, but you want something where you think, yeah, that could work. Make of that what you will. Okay.
Speaking of junk food for the brain, off topic, Steve. Steve, you there?
Steve,
Eve.
we're having problems again,
Oh,
folks.
we're having problems again.
Keep in mind, he's in a hotel, folks.
And hotels are notorious for Wi-Fi being shit.
I would
Oh,
know.
yep. Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Hello. Raiden,
Hello
go
there.
ahead. Raiden, go ahead.
All right, Steve. I've got a question. Okay,
Yes.
since you do work in the theater, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what were your test screen audience reactions to The Northman?
Not didn't really have much of an audience for the Northman from what I could remember. I don't think anybody attended the staff screening. But
Oh, that's disappointing.
Yeah, because when I heard, oh my lord, I heard that joint crazy.
yeah, it wasn't too popular either. It only lasted for 2 weeks before getting moved over for something else.
Oh, no.
That's unfortunate because Robert Eggers, from what I've heard, especially from his past works like The Witch or The Vivitch or whatever you want to pronounce it, and that really trippy movie starring Willem Dafoe and Pattinson, The Lighthouse. I watched that movie. Like, so yeah, from what I've heard from that, yeah. But so from what I heard with The Northman, oh man, as a fan, as a what's the name? Burgeoning. Okay, I have this problem. I can't speak right now, but okay. As a rising fan of Viking mythology, Norse mythology, I heard some crazy stuff about the North. So I definitely want to check that out because I heard it goes.
All right, we'll move on to the next topic, and this is likely to please our resident D&D player.
Go on.
Dimension 20's next Dungeons & Dragons show is all about vampires.
Ooh.
Dimension 20 has announced their next season. It's all about vampires. Earlier this week, Dropout.tv announced Dimension 20 Coffin Run, a new 6-part tabletop game focused on their followers of Dracula. The series will feature Jasmine Buller as Game Master with players Erika Ishii, Carlos Luna, Zach Oyama, and Isabella Rowland. Coffin Run will use D&D's 5th edition rules with some embellishment and custom rules and a non-traditional D&D setting, 19th century Transylvania. The first episode of the series will debut on June 8 at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Dropout.tv, with new episodes launching weekly. Coffin Run will focus on their 4 followers of Dracula, his first side vampire, a mad scientist, maybe we could get Oni to guest star, a vampiric bride, and a vampire-to-be, and when they try to revive Dracula in his coffin after Dracula's attack during his return to Transylvania. Notably, this season marks the return of Dimension 20's in-person miniatures and battle mats, which had been absent for several reasons due to the pandemic. Dimension 20 is one of Dropout TV's more popular shows, with more seasons focused on shorter D&D campaigns set in non-traditional settings. This marks the first time that Buller has joined the cast of Dimension 20, although her name should be well known to D&D fans, as she's a popular streaming and D&D DM. The rest of the cast of Dimension 20 have all appeared in previous seasons of the show. Buller is stepping in for regular Dimension 20 Dungeon Master Brennan Lee Mulligan, who is currently running Critical Role's Exandria Unlimited Calamity. Buller is the third game master for Dimension 20, following Mulligan. Okay. And Iberia Lenagar, who ran the Misfits and Magic season last year. Okay, seeing as D&D is not really my forte, Madam President, your thoughts?
That sounds pretty cool. Again, I do love it when like games take a different setting where it's not like in some medieval castle. Don't get me wrong, that's my cup of tea now. Again, a medieval setting's my cup of tea. But it's like I do like it when a DM goes a little bit differently with the setting, and I do kind of like. Again, it seems like this campaign might be evil based or have like some kind of like evil characters. It sounds like it, especially since they're trying to bring Dracula back from the dead or whatnot. If it's like, okay, that sounds pretty cool. Just, I've only seen a couple episodes of from Dimension 20, and yeah, I kind of like their stuff, and it's fine. I'd like again, I can't give like a complete like expertise because again, I've only seen a few things, and it sounds okay. Just I can only give my expertise for so far. I don't have like I'm still a noob, not gonna lie, but it sounds interesting. Like I might actually check this out later. Who knows?
If anybody else wants to comment, go right ahead. If not, and you're not really into D&D, just pull a mulligan.
Mulligan.
Raiden?
Mulligan.
Steven? This is going to be a recurring theme, folks.
Oh, I am offended. I'm just kidding.
That was so brilliantly timed.
Yeah.
Sorry about it.
It's fine. Do you wish to comment?
Mulligan.
Okay. Sorry, Madam President. Nothing personal.
Nothing personal. I don't take it personally. It's fine.
I hate D&D. You do what? I will like it and do it exactly as I'm told. Yes, you will.
Yes, you will.
And don't kill horses, Oni.
Please no.
No.
No, he had a bit of an issue on his last stream where he killed some horses.
Not again.
Oh no, he not this time around. Not the last stream. No, thank God, no.
Well, to be fair, some horses make it onto the emblems of iconic cars. Know what I mean?
That still doesn't excuse murdering horses. Especially how Oni murdered him. First one was an accident, second one was on purpose.
Don't do the joke, don't do the joke, don't do the joke, don't do the joke. Anyway, on to the next topic. The creator of Dragon Ball confirms who the strongest hero is. Gohan has long been a wildly powerful character in the history of Dragon Ball, with the son of Goku being the first to discover transformation known as SS2, destroying the nefarious Cell and becoming a valuable protector of the Earth in Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super. With the next movie set to see both Gohan and Piccolo in the driver's seats, creator Akira Toriyama has confirmed that he believes that the father of Pan is the strongest member of the Z Fighters. So why isn't he been portrayed as such? The official Dragon Ball superhero Twitter account shared a new interview with Akira Toriyama, revealing that the creator of some of the biggest anime characters around considers Goku's son to be the strongest hero amongst the Z Fighters, even though he doesn't have God Ki at his disposal. Gohan is actually stronger than anyone, or so it's said, but lately he hasn't really gotten a chance to shine. In order to motivate Gohan, it takes his revered teacher Piccolo rather than his father Goku. Well, to be fair, as we've all seen, whether it's DBZ or DBZ Abridged, Piccolo has essentially been Gohan's father. He's actually been there for him. I figured I'd try giving birth to a new superhero by putting these two in the spotlight through their intense battles with the Gamma androids. Oh, we're doing this again. Gohan has been a wild ride over the course of Dragon Ball Super, first starting as a fighter who could barely maintain a Super Saiyan transformation, but training his way back into a relatively short amount of time to reclaim his ultimate transformation, which he discovered during the Majin Buu arc of Dragon Ball Z. Oh yeah, what was that? The Mystic Saiyan, as it's called.
And they
it's
completely
just-
forgot about it.
Yeah. It was just a random, ass pull just to artificially extend the story's length, because ultimately, sadly, Gohan didn't matter at all in the grand scheme of things.
Nope.
It was
Even
Goku again.
Yeah, like from what I understand, it's like Toriyama did set him up to be the main character for at the start of the Majin Buu arc, but then his excuse was, "Oh, Gohan's too complicated of a character for me to write. Writing Goku was so much easier because he's a much simpler character. Fuck it. Screw Gohan. I'm going to bring back Goku."
Okay, let's guide you in your language's words. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's straight from the mouth of Toriyama himself. He
Damn
could
it,
not
Toriyama!
he could not find a way to make Gohan work as a character because he was a more complex individual, whereas Goku is a character who is very simplistic, doesn't really change all that much, and thus that makes him perfect for a long-term story where it's like, new situation comes, you already know how Goku's going to react. With a character like Gohan, who is constantly changing, and he's not his father in a lot of ways. It was just too hard for Toriyama. And so at that point, despite setting him up as the hero of the story, at the protagonist of the story, of course, it all comes back to Goku, while also setting up a bunch of stuff that didn't matter at all in the grand scheme of things. Super
I
Saiyan
don't
3
wanna-
was a waste of time. Fusion, both fusions was a waste of time. Freaking bunch of characters were left to the sideline, pushed off to the sidelines. Overall, despite the Majin Buu saga having a lot of wonderful concepts and characters that fans have grown to love over the decades, it was quite a mess of a story. I do highly recommend Mr. Air Fusion's video, what's it called, series, a Dragon Ball Dissection, where they go over the entire Dragon Ball series, and they just recently completed their analysis of the Majin Buu arc.
Okay. During the Tournament of Power, Gohan was one of the strongest representatives of Universe 7 and played a major role in the Moro arc as well, creating new team-up attacks with Piccolo. The trailers for Dragon Ball Superhero have shown fans that Gohan now relies on both his Super Saiyan transformation as well as his ultimate form, with Piccolo seemingly unleashing his potential as well with a new transformation that causes the Namekian skin to change color, as well as removing the lines from the Z Fighter's arms. While the new form has been described as unleashing Piccolo's potential, there are still plenty of questions surrounding this transformation. What do you think of this confirmation, Gohan fans? Feel free to let us in the comments below. I tend to agree with what Kaiju has said. It would have been better if Toriyama could have just simply continued to try and work with, continuing Gohan's evolution and not relying on Goku, because the idea was the torch was supposed to be passed. But no, I agree Goku is a very simplistic character, because I'm not saying that to be antagonistic, I'm just calling it like it is. All Goku knows is fighting and food. That's all he knows. Whereas with Gohan, there are layers to who he is. He understands the heritage that he was born into, but he's also a child of Earth that wants to contribute in ways that he can only do as half human. So he's a layered character, and it's finally nice to see Piccolo getting some advancement, because hearing that he actually changes his color, that's basically akin to a Namekian going through Super Saiyan transformation. It's just that Piccolo has no hair. Although if you watch SSJ's If Goku and Vegeta Were Black Part 5, you see Piccolo with an afro.
Yeah.
It was very apropos.
Nice play on words there.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I'm kind of glad that the character is getting a little bit more love, and I find Gohan was better written when he was a pre-double digit and then a pre-teen, because he definitely seemed to be more sure of himself, for want of a better description, because you see teen Gohan and you're not 100% sure what to make of him. But, at that stage, Earth had been peaceful for about 7 years, so he has no reason nor legitimacy to do any fighting nor transformation into Super Saiyan, because between Cell and the World Tournament Saga, what reason does he have to do to, as Chi-Chi says, go completely punker? But then again, Chi-Chi doesn't understand Super Saiyans nor Saiyan biology and what have you, so, make of that what you will.
Mm-hmm.
Raiden, what do you make of Toriyama's comments? Oh dear.
Uh-oh.
This man literally says he's the most complicated. Like, come on, bruh. I mean, listen. MJ, you're right. When Gohan was a preteen, I think the writing was great, especially how he tried his damnedest to get to his dad's level. That's admirable, and Goku likes that. He loves seeing stuff like that. That's great writing right there. I mean, so Goku, like Piccolo said in the bridge, which was it, Goku? Which concussion did you take? Did you suffer to have this idea of Gohan go after Cell? Half and half, I get it. The other half, I want to backhand Goku in the face.
We all did.
But yeah, I think for me, Goku's transformation with the Super Saiyan the first time is iconic, but I feel like when Gohan transferred into Super Saiyan 2, I think is one of the most well-deserved and it's about time moment, but glad we finally get it, because we all have seen over the years how much Gohan has used anger to take out people, like from taking out Raditz the first time, going after the Saiyans, mainly Nappa, and technically, single-handedly, in a way, took out Vegeta the first time. People forget. I feel like people have forgotten about that. It wasn't Goku. It wasn't anyone. It was Gohan. Gohan was the one who took him out. So there you go. Also, when Frieza had a second form, we all thought he was dead. Gohan went berserk and beat the crap out of him, but didn't finish the job. So the fact that we got Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, it was one of the most well-deserved moments in TV history. And I think if you would have left it with that, it would have been great. But the high demand was high demand, and we got the boost up. And even though I think Majin Buu is possibly the president of Black Air Force Energy, the season itself was so contrived. It was amazing. And unfortunately, Gohan was this unfortunate casualty of that. So the fact that he said that he's the most complicated is just the biggest can of worms that ever managed. If you would have just, I don't know, did a manga of Gohan's rise and be like his dad, that would have been cool. But Jesus Christ, you made him look like a freaking jobber.
Yeah.
It's real sad. real sad. And I thought when he became Mystic after all that training, we would have said, "Oh snap! Here's the biggest comeback." But we all know how that story ended.
Yep.
So it's just my closing thing is this. I have a lot of respect for Toriyama, but I feel like he's full of shit on this part. Like, you could have. I'm happy that you said, "Hey, he's the strongest," but the fact you said, "Oh, he's the most complicated," fuck off. That's all I gotta say.
So
Sorry
Steve,
for going on a long tangent, but that's been a long time coming.
dude, don't stress it. It's all right. So Steven?
Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank goodness. Just making sure I didn't have to re-enter the call again. It just feels as though everything he tries, everything that what's the writer's name?
Toriyama.
Here, Toriyama.
Here. Yeah.
Everything that Toriyama tries to do is I think he just keeps backpedaling on things that he wants to try to do and improve just for the sake of easy writing. I mean, because it's been said by Raiden, Gohan is a very complex character, yet he prefers writing for Goku just for the simplicity. Plus, with the added fan backlash, he ended up bringing Goku back. Just seems like he just takes the easy way out when it comes to writing Dragon Ball. And any attempt he tries to further the story any further, he immediately has to backpedal because people don't want anything different.
Yeah. It's why people like complex characters, because it tends to go one of two ways if they're a protagonist or an antagonist. When you see them acting out their actions in the beginning, you have several questions, but as you learn more, the layers get peeled away, and you either have more sympathy or you have more disdain, but you have the context both ways. And yeah, I mean, whether we choose to admit it or not, Goku's always going to be the face of Dragon Ball. It's pretty much concrete. But from what I've been hearing from Super, if we thought Goku was irresponsible during the Z days, apparently in Super he's just insufferable. Go ahead. To where Vegeta, you actually look to Vegeta and go, actually, I am agreeing with what the Prince is saying. He's actually saying stuff that we've all needed to hear.
Oh my.
I mean, apparently things have gotten a lot worse with the most recent chapter of Dragon Ball Super, where it's apparently revealed that Bardock made a wish on the Dragon Balls that allowed Goku to be as successful as he was, at least throughout the original Dragon Ball.
Oh, God, that's a cop-out. That's a cop-out.
What?
Get the fuck out of here with that, bruh.
Yep, his secret wish was, I want my children to thrive, or specifically the Japanese literal translation, I want my sons to grow up to be big, strong men.
Well, that's a cop-out. Doesn't explain Raditz.
Well, he did grow up to be an adult.
I kind of like the what if story of Raditz over the what happened with. Yeah, because from what I heard, he does have a family. So I respect. So I like stuff like that. There's also another what if story that has Gohan, future Gohan from the future that the android killed everybody. He's actually like his dad, but a little bit more smarter and technical about things. Which is what I really wanted for Gohan in real time.
Smarter than the average Saiyan.
Yeah. Also, I know I'm going on another tangent, but I don't forget what Toriyama did to Future Trunks, man. Oh my, that was my god. That was my god too. That's when he first came up in the Android Saga when he just dusted Frieza and his father out. Like, jeez. And when he came back after the Cell Saga, took out the androids one by one. I was like, and then you nerf him, give him blue hair, and took all the muscle out of him. Like, what kind of shit is that?
Oh.
I prefer Future Trunks over
Head Trunks.
main timeline Trunks.
Yeah, because homeboy.
Kid's
Yeah.
insufferable.
Hopefully,
Yeah,
now that they
seriously.
finally aged up Goten and Trunks in Dragon Ball Super Hero, maybe we'll finally get some decent characterization out of the pair.
Yeah. I am
That's what I'm
happy.
thinking. I'm feeling like this movie is going to give the spotlight to a lot of characters that have been in desperate need of some attention, love and care and attention for a good long while now, and that's what I'm looking forward
That's
to the
good to hear.
most. Even if I'm not
Yeah.
that big on the animation style.
I will say
Yeah.
one other good thing as well. With the non-canonization of GT, we don't have to put up with what would have been current timeline Trunks, because that version, I'm sorry, he was just as bad as his kid version
Lord.
during the World Tournament saga.
Yeah.
The only thing, if I could have taken one character out of GT as she was and placed her in the main continuity now, I would have taken Pan as she was, because she reminded me of Goku when I was a kid.
Same. Yeah, that for me aside from Super Saiyan 4, that was one of the highlights of Dragon Ball GT.
Yeah. That and seeing Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, that was a trip.
That was cool.
Yeah. Since you chimed in a little bit earlier, Kaiju, do you have anything further to add to what you've already said?
I'm pretty sure that this is pretty much like a big fluff article where it's just Toriyama trying to hype up Gohan because he's clearly meant to be the main character of this movie. The movie's about to come out, so of course he's going to say he's the strongest character in the series, even though there is nothing to indicate that throughout the entirety of Super's run, both the manga and the anime. So, yeah, it doesn't really mean anything to me for him to say, oh, he's stronger than anyone, because this is Toriyama. He, changes things on a dime. He never plans out ahead of time. He never plans out anything ahead of time. I don't know if this means that Gohan's going to become a Super Saiyan God, or if he's going to have a new transformation that makes him stronger than SS Blue or Ultra Instinct or whatever. But I'm just hoping for a good story overall that does my boy justice.
Man, bro.
That's fair.
I think universally, for every Dragon Ball Z, we all want to see Gohan win.
Yeah, I want to see someone other than Goku get the win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's been a thing where it's like having watched in the last several years. I've watched other shonen series beyond Dragon Ball. I've noticed that Dragon Ball in general had this issue starting from the end of the Frieza saga going forward, where it almost seemed like none of the characters mattered, and it was just Goku who stole the show. Meanwhile, you look at something like, say, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure or Yu Yu Hakusho, you feel like every character, or even heck, early Dragon Ball, it felt like every character mattered. Every character played a significant part. Like, sure, at the end of the day, the main character is still going to be the one to fight the main bad guy, but if it weren't for everyone there to support him, he wouldn't have gotten anywhere near his goal. Meanwhile, late Dragon Ball and a lot of Super, it's just the Goku show, making all these these truly beloved characters useless at the end of the day. And I really wish that they could eventually go back to that era where it felt like everyone mattered.
Ensemble.
Yeah.
All right.
Characters definitely hit it on the mark, especially because when you go back at Yu Yu Hakusho, you look at everyone's origin, and when you go back to the end, you see they've truly grown. Like, for example, Kuwabara, who's you know the goofball, but after declining to go to the other world tournament in the Three Kings Saga, it hears that he ace high on his chest. So I like stuff like that. You know, when you see Dragon Ball Z, like, you don't really hear anything either from like little short plots. Unfortunately.
I'm reading some of the comments. Sean's just gone, Mr. Popo is the strongest. In a bridge? Yes, he is.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is.
Dan says, Goku is the kind of guy who would give Thanos a Senzu bean just because it wouldn't be fair to fight at his weakest. Stage intervention! Don't you dare give him that Senzu bean!
He would do some shit like that. I would not have any doubt.
You imagine,
I know he did that again recently with the Moro arc.
Oh, God.
It's like, Krillin, do it! What? Senzu bean! Oh, no, just give these things away. Dan says, do you think Pan will ever go Super Saiyan in the movie?
Maybe not in the movie, but maybe somewhere down the line.
Yeah. I mean, they finally made, female Super Saiyans with Kali and Khalifa, so they finally,
Kale and Khalifa.
You know what I mean.
Yeah, Kale and Khalifa.
You know what I mean. Do you think Cooler should be canonized? Well, someone will pick up that phone when they do, because I would have called it. That'd be cool if they did.
More Dragon Ball. I'll stop interrupting. I am happy that they really fixed Broly's storyline. I think that's the one character that I really want to see come back. Cause I felt like with the Broly movie, they did everything right. Even though the original one is iconic, even though his origin story is shit, I'm just happy to see Broly as not just a destructive person who just wants Goku dead. So I like stuff.
Or as DBZA put it, a giant fucking baby.
Yeah.
If you really want to see something so bad that it's good, watch the big green dub of the Broly movie.
Green? Oh god, don't remind me of that.
Big green.
It is one of those. They know exactly that the dub is awful, and they're just rolling with it. Dan also said, I had a funny image in my head of Rolf from Ed, Ed and Eddie going Ultra Instinct. If you get the reference, you get a cookie.
Oh no!
I do. Oh god, I do.
You realize they all fail in comparison with Shaggy.
Yeah, that's now canon. That's now canon.
It is.
This is only 10% of my
There's
a lot multiverses.
Yeah, there's that literal line of dialogue in the game.
Oh my god, they've embraced it.
Brain in the jar.
They have
Brain in a jar. This Gohan is the strongest. Can I have his body? With that big of a head, are you sure?
I mean, to be fair, if you're a big fan of Scooby-Doo, Shaggy is known to eat, and fans, they like to eat too, so...
Yeah. Isn't it when they did Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue, Shaggy actually featured? I'm like, you're doing an anti-drug...
No,
he's not in the movie.
That was
Michelangelo.
That was Mikey.
Yeah.
Seriously, when you look back at that movie, it's like, okay, this is dumb. Because Bugs has smoked, Daffy has smoked, Mikey, we all know as grown adults, is known to be a future pothead. So that movie is shit.
Yeah. I still can't believe when my brother and Emma were doing their commentary all those years ago. My brother had that, and I can't say this on Twitch, but you know exactly what line that random said. It reduced poor Emma to tears. Hang on. I will type it out, but for obvious reasons I can't say it.
Yo! What the hell, man? No!
Alright, I'm back.
No.
I,
No.
no wonder Emma lost his shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the reason Emma took it down or the studio did a copyright claim because he was using their stuff, but the fact that Random came out with that, I mean, today, even though it's being done for satire, you can't say that. Just no. But that just came like out of the blue, and even I'm watching it back going, and I just looked, I'm like, dude, what the hell? And he's like, I don't give a fuck. And I'm like, no, clearly you don't.
It's random.
No,
Alright, sorry about that. I'm back.
that's okay.
It's all good, it's all good.
Okay.
Dan says, can you imagine if they did a new All-Stars to the Rescue featuring today's cartoons and maybe Goku was part of the cast? No.
No.
God, bro, listen.
Please.
I have seen some stupid stuff when it comes to real topics. Oh Lord, what Arthur did? What the heck, man?
Sean says, well, we all know Random is the crazy one. No, dude. That ship has sailed. Great. The level he's at, there's no word for it.
It's beyond all description.
If anything, him and L-Man are tied.
Yeah.
Wait.
Nope.
Skip that. L-Man was on a level of his own.
I wouldn't give those two ideas.
No. At one time,
L-Man.
At one time when both myself and Oni were ill, Random and L-Man hosted RDR one week. Oh, God.
What?
Lord. Yes. It was late 2013. I was out with a real nasty cold, and Oni was suffering with sinusitis, which you do know, Lids, at certain points of the year he does suffer with it real bad.
Oh, absolutely. I remember.
We were both out of commission. I'm downstairs, like, just watching. I was probably watching a movie or just watching a couple of animes on DVD, and I'm hearing the stuff from upstairs, and I'm thinking, oh, good Lord, what do I have to clean up in the editing room later?
Oh, no.
Because, as Oni has said on occasion, L-Man will go to places that he won't. Because L-Man's on a level of dark that... Hey, don't get me wrong, I love the guy for telling it like it is, but there are some times where we're like, dude, you might want to pull away from this. This is getting a little too controversial. It's like, hey, we'll do as I please. But that's the thing I love about the guy. He tells it like it is, and he's not sorry for it, and I respect that. Madam President, since we didn't get to you, what do you make about the notion that Toriyama says that Gohan has always been the strongest fighter, even though past history has said otherwise?
Like Kaiju said, I think it's a fluff piece to sell the movie, because honestly, Toriyama has, until he said this in this article, he has doubled down that he said Goku's his favorite character. Like, I understand having a favorite character, but when you say that Gohan is complicated and difficult to write, that's a fallacy on a writer itself, not even a fallacy on the character, because if you can't write a proper balanced character, that's on you. If you, again, I'm a noob writer, I get it, I'm a very novice person, but again, you have to understand that if you're writing a complicated character, you understand that character. And it's like, and if you just, and I understand falling back on writing a simple character that just likes to hit things. I get that, but if you want to properly write a character, you have to understand the character like the back of your own hand. Otherwise, you're going to look incredibly stupid. I feel like that's a fallacy on his part, saying that Gohan's complicated. That's why we like him, because he's a more complicated character than Goku. Also, he has almost committed genocide of countless millions of people. Folks. Tournament of power, anyone?
I guess if I could add on to that, I guess it's like when you're comparing like Gohan and Goku, like Goku, for instance, like MJ mentioned, that he's very simple, easier to write for. He only cares about two things: eating and fighting. So when a new bad guy shows up, of course, what's Goku gonna do? He's gonna want to fight him. With Gohan, he's like more of the reluctant hero. He doesn't want to fight. He wants to pursue other things. And so there's the matter of how do you make a character like Gohan more involved in a plot that involves a lot of fighting? How do you involve a pacifist-like character, a pacifistic character like Gohan? How to get him involved in a story that involves a bunch of action and fighting and violence? But I think like the easiest answer would be to double down on the whole reluctant hero thing, because think about it. He's someone with a secret life. He lives a double life. Goes to high school, tries to be a hero on the side. Has big shoes to follow in the footsteps of his fatherly mentor figure. Who does that sound like to you?
That sounds like Luke Skywalker.
Well, I was about to say Spider-Man.
There we go. Sorry, that sounds better. Yeah, you're right.
Living a double life, going to high school, fighting crime on the side, have big shoes to fill, trying to live up to the wisdom that his parental figure, male parental figure, imbued to him. So yeah, it's like, if you want to know how to do like the whole reluctant hero deal, just look at how big and popular Spider-Man is.
Yeah. Again, I feel like the Great Saiyaman was kind of a tribute to Spider-Man, even though, you could assume that, because again, that's Gohan's way of fighting and helping people without having them knowing who he is. So that works.
I somehow want to see Gohan in the Spider-Man outfit now.
And it's like, again, I feel like this.
Well, you're all alone there, my friend.
Just for the visual.
Again, I just feel like he's just trying to double down because the movie's coming out. And again, I want to see what Piccolo's form looks like, but again, I've been hearing a lot of dumb rumors saying that Perfect Cell's going to come back in Piccolo's body. I'm like, wait, what?
Oh, what?
No, don't do that. Don't you do that to me. No. They're going to redeem Perfect Cell. No, you're fucking not.
I'm not sure if any of you are aware of like the Mexican side of it. I don't know if any of you are aware of the Mexican side of the Dragon Ball fandom, but they all love Gohan, and there's this like in-joke amongst the Spanish-speaking side where it's like they have this idea of, back during the Tournament of Power, everyone assumed that Gohan would be the main character again, and everyone assumed that he would become like a white-haired Super Saiyan called Gohan Blanco. Ooh. So it's like, it'd be really funny if something like that ends up happening.
Well, hey, we've got Super Saiyan Shaggy. Why not?
Do that.
Well, if we ever had a Super Saiyan go white hair, that would be the closest Saiyan equivalent to Hypersonic.
Yeah, you're not
wrong. Steve, did we get your thoughts?
Yes, you did.
Okay. Well, the time has come.
Oh.
Ooh, review.
Yep. Let's see, let me post that into the chat for Sean and Dan, because obviously, until I know how Twitch are with certain things, I can't stream that. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. It's nothing personal. It's just the way it is. Oh yeah, I did forget one little detail because I think it's still set on schedule. So let me very quickly just go set it to unlisted. Okie dokie. Hang on. Right, we're on unlisted. So if you all refresh that now, that should actually come up.
No, it says this video is still private.
Yep, same.
Okay, hang on. Try now.
Now it's working.
Okay.
Oh, great. Now I have to go back.
Not yet, video.
I'm ready at 00.
Mm-hmm. Raiden?
I'm ready.
Lids?
It's... Oh, wait, I think she's on mute.
Alright. Yeah, I am. I'm on the right one. Okay. Lids, you ready? Okay. Seeing.
Give me one second. There we go. Shoot.
Okay.
I'm at 0.
3, 2, 1, play. Folks.
Not even an intro, man.
Fans and critics went into this with high expectations. After the masterful job that Sam Raimi did with the first two, it was predicted that a third would do well. Yeah, about that.
Oh
See where
God.
this is going? Mind you, it's not to say that everything about the sequel was bad, as there are aspects that it does well. Like Peter finally being appreciated as Spider-Man after so many years of oppression from the press. Well, more so James.
I need pictures of Spider-Man.
It did go to his head, as Peter seems to negate Mary Jane's troubles from being cut from Broadway. However, given that this is the first time ever that he's been appreciated by the city and given the key to said city, I think anyone would feel overwhelmed by the adulation and respect he was receiving. And let's be fair, it was a long time coming. The movie stays very faithful to the black symbiote suit storyline, with Peter's personality being altered to be more aggressive and being more carefree with his words and actions and not giving any consideration for them.
Give me rent. You'll get your rent when you...
Jesus!
Then, of course, there's the church tower scene. Same way he's gotten rid of the symbiote before in previous continuities with sonic vibrations. This also happened in the 90s animated series, which also featured this scene of voice acting of the highest
Oh no! No!
You can't escape me! I'll chase you to the end of the earth!
You want some salad with that ham? This then, of course, leads into the rush.
I've still got to
Venom
do that
arc.
next
In all
Comic-Con.
honesty, this is where the movie should have stopped and then have the Venom story pick up in Spider-Man 4. Venom is not a character that you can simply shoehorn into the last act. He's a beloved, iconic character that needs a lengthy feature just to do him justice. It took 9 years later to produce his own standalone movie to give him better treatment. You really feel sympathy for what Flint Marko has gone through in that he turned to crime in order to raise funds to help his sick daughter. Because you have to keep in mind, America does not have a healthcare system like other countries where it's paid for by taxes. In America, you have to have health insurance, or you can't get healthcare. The majority of the movie paints Sandman as a heel until you hear right at the end when Marko explains to Parker what really happened on that fateful night when he lost his uncle. It was simply inadvertent. The gun was in his hand, His partner startled him and the gun went off. Marco had no intention of killing Ben Parker that night. He only wanted his car. As Marco explains, he lives every day wishing he could take back what he took from Peter. All that mattered to him was curing his daughter. And this movie has the best material in the trilogy for Harry Osborn. What had been building up since the end of the first movie comes to a head where Harry goes right after Peter, having acquired the same strength and capabilities that his father had as the Goblin, but minus the insanity. I found this to be a plot hole, as that was the side effect of the gas from the first movie. So why Harry didn't go crazy remains to be seen, as he was motivated by revenge and not insanity. The way he finds out I just found to be a little on the lazy side, as it's Bernard the butler that confesses to Harry
what is that
his
noise?
father's wound the night he died and told him that the
I didn't hear
injury
anything.
happened by killing himself via his glider. I felt the movie was a little more balanced when Harry redeemed himself by coming to Peter's aid when he was being pounded by Sandman and Venom. Plus, this has to be one of the most amusing sound bites. Because let's face it, there were too many heels in this movie, which is something that 97's Batman and Robin also suffered from. You have so many subplots going on.
And
with
Amazing
Harry's
Spider-Man 2.
amnesia, then resuming his revenge arc, and his memory, Sandman trying to steal money for his daughter's medicine, Brock trying to push Parker out the bugle, and then goes after him when he clears himself courtesy of Brock's fake photo of him. Mary Jane and Peter's strained relationship, Peter dealing with the dark suit, and then going
I'm the
after
King
the
4.
killer. Basically, it's 3 movies in one. And then there's this scene.
Here we go, baby.
Fire! No!
The dance.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
It's 15 years and the pain is still real. I get the point that the suit is making Parker act out what he thinks is cool, but it's so cringy that it's something that became infamous for many years after this flick. It's been referred to as the evil Peter dance, the spider swagger, and that scene. Talk about being out of character. In short, the writing has aspects that work for the story, but there are so many rushed elements with not enough time for them to breathe that they should have been saved for a potential sequel. I think this is equal to the performance he gave in Spider-Man 2, only from the perspective he's essentially playing 2 versions of Peter. When he's Spidey, he's just Peter with the mask on, but with the black suit he becomes a whole different animal in personality where he doesn't care about the consequences, morals, or stepping on people's toes. He does the dark side of Peter brilliantly. Would have been interesting to see what he could have done with Spider-Man 4. JK is the comic relief once again. I find it amusing that he's being made to take meds for his blood pressure, as fans will know of his explosive temper in the comics and subsequent animated series that he's not known for being quiet. So, to see him go against his normal character traits was interesting and amusing. Also, the look on his face when Parker sits in his seat with his feet on his desk when he demands more money is priceless, which is reflected by Betty's face outside his office. By far, his best performance in the series. Franco gives a great range of anger, vengeance, playfulness, remorse, and relief. You see throughout the movie from trying to kill Peter for still believing he killed his father, to his carefree nature due to his amnesia, resuming his vengeance when his memory returns, and to the sheer look of relief that he made it in time to the fight after learning the truth. And he handled Harry's death scene like a champ. Rosemary is literally only in 3 scenes. Peter declaring he'll ask MJ to marry him, meeting him at his apartment, and being present at Harry's funeral with no dialogue. For what little she's given, she makes the most of it and giving quite possibly one of the most comforting and motivating pieces of advice.
You start by doing the hardest thing. You forgive yourself.
She is an iconic Aunt May for a reason. Like Franco and
Mm-hmm.
Maguire, Church gives a great performance. He portrays a man with a past that only wants to do right by his daughter. Ask yourself this: if your daughter was dying, what would you be willing to do to save her life? Thomas gives Marco a stoic quality of speaking very little and talking with this low, stoic tone, and he really sells the emotion of the character with his eyes. In the aftermath of the battle with Venom, you can see the remorse in his eyes when he speaks of what he regretfully did to Peter by taking his uncle. With a simple reply from Spidey,
I forgive you.
Sandman's arc was given closure as he had been redeemed. This was arguably one of the best redemption arcs, and Thomas played it to perfection. Long before she was managing Jurassic World, she once played the first live-action Gwen
I
Stacy.
still can't
And to
believe
this day,
that
the
was
only
her.
one to live.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, she makes use of what little she has in this, and she makes Gwen come across as friendly, perky, and bubbly. Oh, good lord, where do I start? I think we may have found someone who makes John Cryer's Alan from
Lord
no.
Jesus Christ.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. When I think Eddie Brock, I think of the Hank Azaria portrayal in the 90s animated series as a muscle-bound meathead that hits before thinking with the build of Brock Lesnar. Folks, don't get any ideas. No one needs to see that. The way that Topher portrays
Too
Brock
late.
is just nothing like the character that people grew up on in the comics and other
Someone's gonna
movies.
make memes.
Also, the whole Brock, Edward Brock
It is the
Jr.
internet after
got
all.
old real fast. I think
It
it's
is.
just the way that Topher just acted like this smooth-talking big shot just annoyed the fans and really did nothing for the story. Had this incarnation been given a different name, I don't think the animosity would have been so strong. Needless to say that this movie killed his film career. With performances like that, are you really surprised? The only time in this movie where she sells anything is Harry's death scene. The rest of the movie, she is just flat, no conviction, and if she was purposely trying to make Mary Jane insufferable on purpose, then she succeeded. Even when Peter is trying to console her when she gets cut, she stops him. Even when he's trying to encourage her to get back on the horse as a means of not giving up, it's like she doesn't want to be cheered up. Most girls I know appreciate being lifted up after disappointment. I guess Mary Jane is just a different breed. Agreed, Madam President. Agreed. In short, her worst performance as the character, and I do not miss this version of Mary Jane Watson. This series has not been best remembered for its use of effects. Ugh. That. That just looks horrible. This time, however, they got the visual effects right. When you see Spidey doing moves that Tobey would not be physically able to do and therefore place in a digital Spider-Man, the VFX progressed to the point where the eye could be better deceived. The same could be said for Sandman when he turned into this giant sand creature that basically screamed, "I can't believe we're not ripping off the 99 Mummy movie." I think if the movie had not gone to the painstaking detail of the CG for Sandman, then it's possible that the movie could have come out in 2006. Today they probably would have had an easier time with this, but back then it took longer. It's a little hit and miss for Venom CG. There are points where it looks passable, and other times it just looks too cartoony. His meeting with Sandman is fine until he starts talking with his face concealed. Long story short, the effects have gotten better, but some areas needed more polishing. All the problems that this movie has with the writing, the score shines effortlessly. It's not uncommon to use a character's movie theme within a movie. If you look back at the Superman series from 1 to Returns, the iconic John Williams theme is used when Supes is triumphant, and when Bats is readying himself to go after Scarecrow and Ra's al Ghul in Batman Begins. The use of the theme when Harry comes to Peter's aid in the final battle of the movie really added a sense of hope for Peter. After having his hide handed to him, here comes an unlikely ally, knowing the truth and willing to die for his friends, as he said about the start of the movie, which then leads into his death, as the string instruments make you feel the emotional weight of this character now passing into the next world after giving his final words to his friends. You know, I give Kirsten a lot of fault in this movie, but I could not fault her talent as a singer, because the jazz song she begins performing at the end just shows that she has it as a vocalist. That is actually her.
Wow.
That's what I do every day.
Scene, one of the most beautiful
beautiful pieces
And knowing is half the battle.
no dialogue between Peter and Mary Jane of their reconciliation and the rekindling of their relationship. It's such a tender and touching moment that what dialogue could you put in that would add to it? Spider-Man 3 grossed a profit of $894.9 million on a $258 to $350 million budget, making it the third highest grossing film that year. 15 years later, that would be worth $1.2 billion. The movie had mixed to negative reviews, the main faults being too many villains and subplots. David Adelstein of New York Magazine misses the centrifugal threat of Alfred Molina's character, adding that the three villains here don't add up to one Doc Ock. Roger Ebert, who had praised Spider-Man 2, gave the sequel 2 out of 4 stars and thought Church never expressed how Sandman felt about his new powers, something Molina as Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2 did with a vengeance. He said the film was a mess, with too many villains, subplots, romantic misunderstandings, conversations, and street crowds looking high into the air and shouting, "Ooh, this way," then swiveling and shouting, "Ah, that way." In a 2014 interview, Raimi called the film awful, with Avi Arad in 2018 accepting blame for pushing Venom to be included.
Well, better late than never.
Despite the negative reviews, it gained popularity on social media for the meme
Of course.
that was based on
Memes.
Parker's corrupt persona, courtesy of the
Can
Sims.
put some dirt in your eye.
This is most evident in Aldo Jones's weird trailer for Infinity War when Maguire pulls Holland's Spider-Man off the spaceship surface. Strutting the streets during the film's climactic montage scene was used as option content on Destiny 2. There were plans to do Spider-Man 4, 5, and 6.
You also forgot to mention the Spider-Man dance in Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, Lord Jesus. I remember.
We don't talk about that.
No, you should talk about that.
It's
a damn good movie.
Not Black Cat.
I couldn't have seen that working. That'd be like Bruce Banner being Spider-Man. Oh, wait.
Yes!
Peter Parker being the Hulk.
Jokes aside, it's best not to tamper with what works.
Well, if people obeyed that principle, Feedbusters wouldn't exist.
The series was cancelled, and Sony pressed forward.
Oh!
Yep.
First up was the Mark Webb directed movie 2012's The Amazing Spider-Man, with British-American actor Andrew Garfield replacing Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker and Spider-Man. Despite feeling like a rehash of the first movie 10 years prior, the movie did reasonably well, with people praising Garfield's performance along with his love interest, Gwen Stacy, played by Emma Stone. A sequel followed in 2014 with The Amazing Spider-Man 2 that was panned by fans and critics, with some going so far to say that this was worse than Spider-Man 3.
If someone had told me that before 2014, I'd go nuts.
After a fallout between Garfield and Sony, Spidey was rebooted for the second time, with British actor Tom Holland taking up the mantle of Spider-Man in Captain America 3: Civil War.
Well, dependent on whom you speak to, the movie has been enjoyed on DVD and Blu-ray and 4K since 2007. I'm MJ Knight, and this was Spider-Man 3.
Wait, you didn't even bring up the fact that Tobey Maguire returns in No Way Home?
I already covered that in the first review.
Okay.
Don't laugh at that.
That was good.
Mm-hmm.
Really good.
Thank you, son. Yep, and that's season 17 done.
Mm-hmm.
Yay!
Would have been at least 3 more tickets, but because I was ill and injured throughout March and April, you know, all I'm going to do for the next 2 seasons is to add on an additional ticket, and then just, like I say, just go from there, because this is usually where I end the winter-spring season, so, you know, I would have preferred a little bit more, but it seems to be a theme at the moment where, you know, I somehow come down with something at the beginning of the year, and then it affects the rest of the season, so, you know, it is what it is. Since we have Spider-Man with us in the panel this evening, your thoughts on Spider-Man 3 then, now, and thoughts on the review. Steven?
Ba-doom.
Oh, not again.
Even. No.
Ah, there he is.
Hey.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Right. I remember seeing it back in 2007. Sometimes it just felt like it was too much all at once.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been fine with just 2 villains, but 3 all at once after just having 2 movies with singular villains just felt a bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
Although considering some of the other movies that have come out since then, in relation to Spider-Man and or superhero otherwise, it just shows how not to do a superhero movie.
So, how not to do superhero movies. So, on that list, Spider-Man 3, as we mentioned, Superman 3, Superman 4, X-Men The Last Stand. Raider doesn't want to talk about that movie. And we can add Iron Man 3 and Batman and Robin to that list.
Yep.
Yeah.
Although I find it ironic that it would take over a decade later until they actually got Venom right, in his own movie without Spider-Man in there.
Yeah. And it's just the idea of Brock and Venom acting like an arguing married couple. I'm like, I didn't ask for this, but now I want more of it.
Eddie needs to do the shopping now.
Jump.
Pussy.
Venom, you savage.
But again, as always, you've done a really good, solid review, MJ.
Thank you. To our own Miles Morales, same questions.
If I'm being honest, the whole review itself kind of reminded me of Dead Meat's review of I Always Know What You Did Last Summer. And it is infamous on how much James did not give a crap about that movie. And, oh, Jesus, I don't blame him. But what I did like...
Oh, you should have seen his review of Thanksgiving 3.
Oh, yeah, I've heard.
Killing 3.
Yeah. Anyway, the difference between him and your review, at least you were still a little passionate about things that you did like. So that was pretty cool. My history of the movie, well,
I told you it's done. I gave you a message on the phone.
As you were, Raiden.
Alright, like I said, my history with this movie, I wouldn't say it's complicated, but what I did like is what you mentioned in the film was how it really made Sandman's character very sympathetic. You know, and I was really happy, even though he did some not really villainous things in No Way Home, he was still like reluctant. So I'm glad that carried on. So that's cool. Uh, Bryce Dallas Howard, Gwen Stacy was really good for what material she got. Would have been cool if she did more in the franchise, but I don't know how that happened. Okay, a little bit of a controversial opinion. I didn't really mind the Spider-Man dance like anyone else. I know it's cringy, but I don't know. I kind of get a kick out. I got a kick out of that one time. I only saw it once or twice. I don't know. I look back at it, I still laugh at it. I was really happy that they brought it back into the Spider-Verse. Oh man, I like the continuity on that. But like I said, all in all, your review was great. Once again, I really like how she didn't really care in the intro, which I understand. You definitely give a well thought out review on one of the most panned Spider-Man movies to date, not named Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Good on you on that. Good on you on that. Great review.
Madam President, same questions.
I enjoyed the review. I did get a little bit of vibe of it's like, why am I here? Oh, right, because I got to continue the series. Okay, let's get this over with. I did enjoy the review. There are a lot of points, but again, you were very fair, especially with this movie as bad as it is. Again, like I said, there are some good points, but yeah, the movie was a trash fire, not as big a trash fire, Amazing Spider-Man 2, but still a pretty substantial dumpster fire. But yeah, I did enjoy the review, and again, the Spider-Man dances now at this point is just more funny than cringy. Just like the fact that Toby owned that dance, it's like, I'm assuming Ted Raimi's like, do whatever the hell you want. Okay. So again, it was a good review, and I don't hate that movie, but it's like it's kind of cringy sometimes.
All right. And last but never least, movie reviewer and comic book writer extraordinaire, Mr. Noir, same questions to you.
Let's see. For my thoughts on Spider-Man 3 itself, it certainly was a disappointment upon its release, but I feel like within the 15 years, I personally have been given a lot more. I've looked in the movie in a different light now, where it's like, yeah, it's still a very problematic movie, but it's sort of like given me a new seeing the last 15 years worth of movies has given me more appreciation for what worked in Spider-Man 3. At the very least, you can tell that it was the director trying to make the best out of a bad situation. And for that, I can't even imagine what it must be like to be put in such a position. So for that, I feel like he really did his damnedest to try to make something work. And honestly, like, for what you can say what you will about Spider-Man 3, it's at least a very memorable movie. It's a movie it's a kind of movie you won't find anywhere else. And that's a lot for more than I can say for like a lot of the more middling movies from like the MCU, for instance, where it's like you watch it once and then you forget it even exists. Like, when was the last time you've ever revisited any of the Marvel MCU movies from like the last 5 years? Yet, how much does your mind always go back to Spider-Man 3 by comparison?
Very good point.
Good point. Yeah, that is a good point.
And like, honestly, and like, even again, Sam Raimi, you compare Spider-Man 3 to like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, you can tell that there was at least a lot more creative freedom for Sam Raimi to do what he wants, as opposed to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, where there's only like maybe 2 or 3 instances where it felt like a Sam Raimi movie, and then the rest of the film was just standard MCU style.
Yeah.
And then that's not even getting into all the crap superhero movies that we've gotten. Spider-Man 3 is like The Godfather Part 2 compared to something like Fan 4 Stick, for instance.
We don't talk about that.
No.
Again,
That movie
the last
doesn't exist.
15 again, the last 15 years gives you a lot of perspective. Opens up your perspective a bit. You see the wider picture. It's like, yeah, Spider-Man 3 was a disappointment, but it's not a trash fire. And
yeah.
And like the interesting thing is like a lot of the parts that people tend to hate on, myself included back in the day, were the attempts for it to be comedic, like with the whole emo Parker stuff. And for me, I think thanks to internet meme culture, that the stuff that I used to think sucks has gone around to being funny again for an entirely new set of reasons. For instance, the line "I'm going to put some dirt in your eye." I could have cared less about that line. Now, thanks to the internet, I hear that line, I'm like, yeah. Or if I hear, "Oh, you gonna cry, little Gobby Jr. gonna cry," it's like I can't help but smile at any moment that emo Parker is in there. He went from being the worst part of the movie to being the best part of the movie now. It's like, and now it's like, again, with perspective, it's like, I can see what you're doing all these years later. I finally get it, Sam Raimi. I see what you're trying to do here. You were making shit posts before shit posts were even a thing.
Will you accept my friend request? I'm just kidding.
I missed the part, but that's my problem.
Exactly. All these lines are wonderfully hammy and over the top, and I love it. If anything, it's like, yeah, the things that are very problematic are the things such as trying to balance way too many plot lines. The whole everything involving New Goblin was a huge like a letdown in terms of how much they were building that subplot in the last two movies. Sandman, the whole retconning of Uncle Ben's death, making it out to be less Peter Parker's fault and more of Sandman's fault. Did not like that in the slightest. And yeah, and the whole treatment of Venom being nowhere near as cool and as interesting as he was in the animated series, which I grew up watching. So yeah, it's definitely a mixed bag, but I have learned to appreciate it more. Its more positive qualities over time. As for the review itself, as always, a very good job, MJ, providing a very fair, balanced review film while being honest, not trying to be too positive or too critical, just telling it how it is when it comes to your thoughts on the film. Like that, appreciate that you try to cover all of its qualities on every front. If there's any advice I can give going forward with the next season of Real Features, and this kind of goes for everything you do online in general, I would recommend speeding up your delivery, adding a bit more energy to your inflection, because I have received some notes from certain individuals who have checked out your stuff recently, and I would tend to agree with them, and that there are cases where you do tend to have a rather slow delivery to where it almost feels like you're trying to read a bedtime story to someone. And so it's no fault of your own. I understand that this is how you conduct yourself all the time, but I would say in the future try to liven up your delivery.
It is something that I struggle with, probably more so during the camera segment, because when I do the voiceovers, the script is right there in front of me, and I find it easier to give delivery that way. The problem I have if I try to speed it up too much is that I end up tripping over my words, and then I have to go back to where I was, and that gets me frustrated. So I try to find the
middle ground.
Yeah, I try to find the most coherent take where it's not too quick, it's not too slow, it's just at that right balance. And because I'm having to, even doing filming during the day, there are still other people in the apartment building, so I have to try and find that right balance where, even though I've got the camera right in front of me again, finally, after finding the right setting to where I'm not having to project my voice, which means I can turn the gain down on the shotgun microphone, it's trying to find that balance where it's using an indoor voice, but I'm projecting at the right level to where the audience is appreciating it, and at the same time, I'm not likely to get complaint emails saying, "You're too loud, dude. You're too loud, dude. Tone it down." I do understand that criticism. It is something I'm trying to work on, but you know, it's like what I've been going through with my CBT therapy lately. It's not something that's going to happen overnight, so
Of course.
it is something, like I say, I'm trying to work on. And what I try to do before each take now, I will actually say the lines without doing, any recording, or not saying, okay, this is the one. Because what I tend to do when I do the filming, if I like how it sounded, I'll just point a finger in the air and say, okay. It's just like a visual cue for me when I'm in the edit. When I go to do the editing, it's like, yep, go with that one. That I like that one. Because, like I say, because I think part of this is not necessarily so much a disorder. I think it's just the way that my brain is wired. I know exactly how I want it to say, but the thoughts are getting to my vocalization too quickly, and it's trying to process it to where I've got it just how I want it. But I'll make no promises. I will work on it, but it's not something that's going to happen straight away, because it's not just a physical discipline. It's a mental discipline. It's just trying to get you to that point where it feels comfortable, and you can effectively, for want of a better phrase, do it in your sleep.
Uh-huh.
So I do appreciate that, but like I say, when you're working with this in just your spare time, and you've only got like X amount of hours to get stuff done, because I try so diligently to actually keep to a schedule after the last 2 years have been very problematic. With last year, I was like I say, going through my anxiety issues. This year I was injured and ill for the better part of a month, so I couldn't film, let alone do any voiceovers. And the last 2 years have been all over the place. So I appreciate like I say, the constructive criticism, like it is. And I suppose one problem I've had is some people don't really know what to tell me with regards to what is the happy medium, because I'll get some people say, oh, you're reading this off too slow. Some people say you're going too fast, and I'm just like, then tell me what the happy medium is. Don't tell me I'm going one way and then telling me I'm going the other, because, not to get on too much of a personal tangent, but I get some issues from some family members where they'll say, you need to tell this person to do that way. I go and do it that way. Oh, now you're being too harsh. And I just say, will you pick one and stick with it? It's difficult to find that happy medium, and I tend to find if the delivery's a little quicker, I tend to talk louder. So again, it's trying to strike that balance, and that's something I've struggled with for the last 15 years. I'd say, and this is just me saying as is, if you went back to say some of the very first videos that I put out in 2007, people would actually tell me, please work with a script, because you're talking way too slow. And trust me, if you think some of my cadence in delivery is slow today, back then it would have been a snooze fest. Thankfully, most of those videos are lost to time, just due to how inept I was at, archiving videos back then. So it's like I say, it's something I'm working on, but it's something that I struggle with because, again, I'll get one side that says slow it down, the other side that says, pick it up. It's hard for me.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah. It might explain why I don't get the traction that I would like to get, but at the same time, as you've also pointed out to me, there's like millions and hundreds of millions of people on YouTube, so it's probably more the latter than anything, but everyone's different.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. I mean, thankfully, I've already got one of the reviews for next season already voiceovered and filmed, but that was done before I went down with the bug in late March, and it's funny, Titanic actually came out in November of 1997, so maybe that was fate.
Timing.
Yeah, maybe that was fate's way of saying, nah, save it for that one, rather than do it on the anniversary of her sinking.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, between now and I think early July, I'm probably not going to be doing any production. I might do, the scripts for the reviews, but not actually start. Not actually start producing anything until about mid-July, because the discipline I want to keep to now, only because I'm sick and tired of playing catch-up with everything, is by the time the first 2 tickets go out in late August, I'll already be working on finishing the reviews up for the end of November, because next season 19 is going to start particularly late next year, only because I've not only got the amazing duology to cover with Spider-May, and also taking into consideration about doing Into the Spider-Verse as well, but there's going to be a mini-series next June. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
Alright.
The only ones I can guarantee that you already know about for next season, Titanic being one of them, finishing off the Terminator miniseries. I'll be glad to get that one out of the way, because Genesis I have mixed feelings about. There are some things that it does right, and there's other times I'm like, oh goody, we're doing this rinse and repeat again. And then I've heard nothing good about Dark Fate other than the deep fake work that they did for Arnold and Linda, and to a subtle extent with Edward Furlong, where they de-aged him by, let's see, Terminator 2 was 91, Dark Fate came out. Dark Fate was 2019, I think. So, that's a 28.
I would have liked to be the fly on the wall with that conversation. It's like, you're going to be in this movie. Awesome. You're going to die in the first 5 minutes.
Wait, what?
What?
And the one that will be the season finale will be the 2nd anniversary of Sonic the Hedgehog. Because I put out a poll on Twitter a month or 2 back. What do you want as the season finale for season 18? They all voted Sonic. Because I put up for Ghostbusters 2 as well amongst that list, but they're like, nope, we want Sonic. Alright, that's what you want. And let's just say the opening review, Raiden will never see it coming.
No.
That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Ominous.
But at the same time, you'd be like, bruh, make another one like that. Please, make another one like that. Yeah. And one that Steve won't see coming either.
Now you got me curious.
Yeah, well, you're gonna have to stay curious until probably about midway through that season. And it's been trying to cherry pick what ones are going to carry over the next 2 seasons, because I would have done the 28th anniversary of The Mask along with Scary Movie and Titanic, but Scary Movie and The Mask are being moved over to next season along with Titanic, and I'm possibly, and I stress possibly, considering doing a retrospective on Ace Ventura, and based on some of our conversations before, there are some aspects of that movie that have really not aged well. Like the movie where he says, "Ha ha, that she's actually a man, isn't that funny?" Whereas Kaiju's like, "Oh dude, the future is not gonna like you." But
people are already definitely calling that ending super transphobic.
Yeah.
And this is where, like I say, not really giving benefit of the doubt, just more or less just calling it as it is. They didn't know how the future was going to unfold like that, you know.
Or better yet, it's easier to say it was a different time.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was. Yeah.
It's like the stuff.
Oh boy, a person born as a dude pretending to be a woman, isn't that funny? Meanwhile, people are like, no, they have my full.
That's actually not funny.
No.
It's like in the same way some of the
or even back in the day where it's like, dude, like how many movies like from the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s were like, dude, a dude kissing another dude, isn't that hilarious?
Like,
no,
dude,
that's just part of everyday life. People do
oh,
that.
you know, a movie nowadays that's not gonna freaking get a lot of traction. The Hot Chick with Rob Schneider. That was no hindsight was taken there.
Or MJ would probably recognize this, but when they did, so many years later, kind of like a basic radio play of Little Britain.
No.
How much of a bad reaction that got from the public?
Little Britain, to begin with, I don't want to say innocent enough. It was tolerable enough. Today, you couldn't do that. Simply because of just the way that society has changed, evolved, and what have you. Double Toasted were actually surprisingly more lenient to the homophobic joke from the first Spider-Man movie. They say like that, that is so, so light with that particular joke.
It wasn't like it was making a joke at everybody. It was just poking fun at this dude's overly sensitive ego.
Yeah. But at the same time, I can understand why some other people would look at it and go, I don't know if I'm okay with that. But to each their own.
It does remind me, it did make for a really hilarious meme that I'm going to share it with you right now.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah.
Oh no!
That's a cute outfit. Did your husband give it to you?
Actually, he did. He bought this for me on our 10th anniversary. Not only is he my lover, he is my best friend and my soulmate. I'm not ashamed of who I love, nor should I be. For someone with strange abilities due to, I assume, accidental exposure to radioactive spider blood, you're not very tolerant of those different to yourself. You're on the wrong side of history, Spider-Man.
And Spider-Man's like, well, damn.
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good for you. Please don't break me.
He's like, it was at that moment Peter knew he fucked up.
Oh, he didn't just fuck up, he fucked up royal. Oh, damn. Alright, what was, Nah, I think this is probably as good a place as anywhere to end it. That, and I've got to get ready for work soon, so thank you to everybody who attended this evening, both in the audience and my co-hosts. That was season 17 of Real Features, if you can believe. Hard to think it was March 2014 I decided to hit the reset button, but I think it's been all the more better for it, simply because the series is way more structured than what it was when I began it originally back in 2011, 2012, when I changed it from Movie Night, because I found out there was another movie review series on YouTube called Movie Night but minus the K, and I'm like, this could cause confusion. So on the turn of a dime, Random just said, just call yourself Special Features. And I'm like, okay, DVD, Blu-ray features, that makes sense. But I just thought, I don't know. I just thought, what do people associate with cinemas? Movie reels. And what is a movie? A feature. So I'm like, okay, Real Features, that'll do. And stuck with it. And for whatever reason, my two most popular reviews at the moment from the series is either the Hulk vs. Hulk review going way back to 2014 when it was on my original channel, or the Death of the Incredible Hulk, because that thing is climbing up to 4,000 views.
Nice.
Cool.
Why? I don't even think that's one of my better reviews, but for whatever reason, people love that one. I mean, okay, I would have thought the stuff I did with Back to the Future, Jurassic Park, or some of the stuff I did with Terminator would have been more appeased, but hey, at the end of the day, good positive acceptance is, well, it's good positive acceptance, so make of that what you will. With regards to when we finish up for this season, I'm thinking probably either June 5th or June 12th, only because, and Steve can attest to this, the humidity has been getting stronger and hotter with the passing weeks, and it's not set to let up anytime soon. And like I say, because I have to go to work when it's still very, very humid out there. And to be fair, this is normally where we tend to leave it at this time of the year, and plus it gives us a nice extended summer break, so that when we come back in August, things have cooled down a little bit. And
you mean September?
Yeah. And it's like Kaiju has said, it's going to give me some time to work on my delivery, but I'll treat it in the same regard as what I've been doing with my CBT. Just, don't try to shoot for perfection straight away. Just take it little by little, just to the point where it's like, okay, you've got it. Because again, this is a delivery that I've been so used to and accustomed, because it's trying to train my mind and my vocal cords to try and get the delivery out the way I want it without stumbling over my words, and then I get frustrated, and then I have to try and calm myself down a little because of the fact that I'm not able to deliver how I would want it to be. So it's something I'm going to work on, but all I will say is with the Titanic review, do expect it to be as it was from this season, because that's how I was working with at the time. And also, the Titanic review is probably likely to go on for about 25 to 30 minutes, and I'm not re-recording those lines again. No. Once was enough. It's fine.
Slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah. I mean, there are some stuff where if there's only like, say, 5 to 6 pages of a review where it's very simplistic but it's straight to the point, I can go back and redo those lines. But if it's something as lengthy as what I had written, because most of the voiceover dialogue is covering the cast, and there's such a huge ensemble cast with the Titanic movie that I just looked, I'm like, oh hell no, I'm not going back to redo that. I was like, no, purely because I can't put myself through that again. And at the time, I'd only just recovered enough from my rib injury just to be able to do what I consider a coherent delivery. So, like I say, I'm not doing that again. The other ones, like I say, I will take Kaiju's critique, into consideration, but it's going to be a review by review process, so don't expect magic straight away, if at all, from me. But I will work for it. And on that note, for this week, thank you to everybody who attended, both in the audience and in the panel. We'll see you next week, and like I say, it's probably more than likely June 12th will be where we sign off for this season. So, from myself, good night from the night.
Night.
Ciao, everyone.
My Drake was available on Amazon Comixology and Kindle.
And don't forget to check out MJ Knight's Teespring page.
Thank you, Stephen.
And don't forget to subscribe to twitch.tv/OniRakaku.
Give him lots of bits and subscriptions to the point where he earns $15 million in 1 year, and then Madam President says, okay, honey, where's my cut? Where's my cut? Where's my cut?
Please subscribe to keep him from killing more horses, please.
Yes, instead, I don't know, do a fantasy wrestling game where he gets to go after people he doesn't like. Oh, get in line, there's a long list for that. And get raided in his own dojo, and people can learn from his discipline.
Yeah.
See you next week, folks.
And everybody.